trying to get you sleeping. You're making such cute sounds. Did you have your eyes open? You little weirdo. I am so in love. Like, it doesn't even do justice on camera. Alright, hi guys, hello. I just finished doing my Patreon only writing sprints. We had a lot of fun. I was working on book 3. So if you missed my past vlogs, I got book 3 back from the editor. Book 3 is titled Rebelling with the Bad Boy, so I'm sure you can guess the trope. I got it back from the developmental editor. It needed a big overhaul, but no. I'm being dramatic there. It didn't need a big overhaul in terms of plot points. It just, the character motivation was lacking. So, yeah, I was being way dramatic. The character motivation was lacking, so the goal for this draft is to insert character motivation, tweak plot points that would affect the character motivation, and things like that. I talked about how stressed I was because I wasn't, so my editor and I weren't certain we were starting the manuscript in the right place, but I do think that I'm going to try and stick with where I'm starting it, but tweak the dialogue that's in the initial chapters and make the dialogue more important to the plot, because as of right now, the dialogue was just kind of like a little bit of filler dialogue. And you know, not really how you want to start a scene or start a book. So I tried to make the dialogue fit better to the plot, make it more important, and so hopefully that is a little bit more of a quicker opening or better paced opening. In my books, more so, I think the story does really start on chapter 3. So like the first 2 chapters are the homeland plot beat in whatever plot. What is the Save the Cat one's called? Is it just setup? Is it called setup? And then usually in chapter 3, that's when the inciting incident happens. And so I think I'm following what I consistently do, but I think I agree with the way it started with the dialogue that was included. It just didn't feel relevant, didn't feel overly necessary. So it made the beginning feel quite slow. Tweaked that beginning. We are now on page 13. That's where I'm editing on. I'm just kind of like, I have a new draft. And I am copying sections from the old draft to the new draft, tweaking it there, and then kind of like moving down that way, going very slowly. I'm copying and pasting one paragraph at a time to make sure everything is phrased how I want it to sound. And yeah, I think we are making good progress tonight. Honestly, in the hour and a half that I was doing the sprints, I got to page 13, so pretty good. We did have something that I needed to tweak. Mostly the dialogue in chapter 1 was what needed tweaking and like tightening up. So that's what took most of the time. That's what I'm doing. That's how I'm tackling these book 3 edits, because when I talked to you guys last, I didn't really have a game plan of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to work things. And I was really struggling because I felt like we were starting in a strange spot. So this book, Rebelling with the Bad Boy, is book 3 in the Most Likely To series. So if you've read book 1 or 2, you'll know that there's a Most Likely To list that goes around Brentwood High, which is the fictional high school, every single year, and there are characters on this list who are voted most likely to marry a math book, most likely to never have their first kiss. So my main character is voted most likely to something, and that doesn't get mentioned until page 65, which is very much so too late, but we had so much character development obviously happening within those first 65 pages, and I was like, okay, crap, what am I going to do? Because it's not like I can, the timeline is where I was coming into an issue, because it's not like I can move up the most likely to list at all. So book 1 and book 2 establish that the most likely to list goes out on the Monday of the second week of the school year. Okay, you with me? You staying with me? Tracking with me? So the most likely to list goes out on that Monday. So I could not move it ahead like earlier if I wanted to. And I was worried, like, how can I start there if, like, there's so much that would have to be established because, like, the main character, the love interest, they interact so much before the most likely to list. Because when we start book 3, we're starting, I hope you're following me. If you're not, hopefully you just like to listen to my ramble. Where we start book 3, we start on the very first day of school. Where I started book 1 and 2, we start on the second week of school. But for book 3, we started on the first day. So we had that kind of whole week/weekend to get some scenes with the main character and the love interest. And then if I wanted to start with the most likely tos, all of that would be gone. And I was so not sure how I was going to, establish things and, like, rework stuff. I was so stressed. So stressed. I couldn't figure it out in my mind. I cried. I was very upset. And then talking it out with my editor and talking it out with my mother, who couldn't help me at all, but I was able to just say something and some stuff clicked, which is really exciting. I love when that happens. So I do now know that I can figure out a way to introduce the most likely to list sooner, as well as, what was I going to say? As well as keep some of the conversation that the main character and the love interest do have. I feel a little bit better. I obviously am not to that part yet where the most likely to list is interjected, so hopefully I can maintain this confidence when the most likely to list does come back into play. We will see. I feel pretty good about what my game plan is now, because what I have in my head of what I want to do follows really tightly with the setup, the inciting incident, the debate, and then what ultimately propels her to decide to do something. And then that will kick off into the fun and games portion, which, do you know what I mean? Which is what is, like, the promise of the premise. I think when in my initial draft that I sent to my developmental editor, I had the setup, I had the inciting incident, and I didn't really show a debate process between the main character, actually of the main character. She didn't debate at all whether or not to kind of go into something headlong, and she really had no reason to go into something headlong. So yeah, it was pretty rough. It's also hard because my inciting incident is not the most likely to list. So I had to kind of like figure out how to structure everything so the most likely to list is still important, but not the inciting incident. So I have my inciting incident, which I am not revealing, but she's gonna have her debate period, but what ultimately spurs her into the decision is the most likely to list, seeing that she's voted on the list. I think that formatting works a whole lot better from a writing perspective, and from a structural perspective, and I think I feel really confident with it, knowing how plot beats work. I think it's gonna work pretty well. Fingers crossed. I think that's the most specific I've gotten with my plotting and my writing style in a very long time. It felt like I was telling you guys a lot, but I don't think I was telling you a lot. I think you're probably still a little bit in the dark, hopefully. I don't think there were spoilers in that. I just don't normally talk about that sort of writing stuff. I usually say, oh, I'm struggling with my pacing or something like that. But it felt kind of good to just talk about the specifics of where I'm struggling, why I'm struggling, what I think my fix is. I do think that will help. I'm trying to plan out my content for something exciting that is happening next weekend. So I have to plan my content kind of around that, which is going to be really interesting and really fun, and I can't wait to share it when the time comes. But yeah, so that's me. I'm gonna get some writing done tonight. Hopefully we get pretty far. Let's start writing, or continue writing, because I have been writing. Let's keep going. I have been sitting for way too long. It's 6:40. Is that what that time said? Yes, 6:40. I just finished my first client work. It took me about almost 4 hours to read through. The next one I have to read is very short. It's shorter, so that's gonna be great. It's gonna go by fast. I think it's only I only have 100 pages to read tonight. I am gonna take a break though, take some screen time break, and do something because my eyeballs are just, they are hurting. I've been working for a long time. I actually didn't take a nap today either, which crazy. But yeah, so I just wanted to update you guys because I haven't checked in at all today. And yeah, so that's just me. The lighting. I thought I could use my laptop as like a ring light kind of, but it does look a little funky. But I think without it, it is too dark. Well, let's chit chat real quick about Nanowrimo. I'm sure that you know what Nanowrimo is. Everybody talks about it this time of year, but in case you do not, Nanowrimo is National Novel Writing Month. It happens in the month of November, every November. November is National Novel Writing Month, and there is a challenge that goes around this time of year to write a novel in that month, and the novel is 50,000 words. If you do not write a novel, like let's say you write a screenplay, let's say you write blog posts, let's say you're editing a book, you are a NaNoWriMo rebel or a Nano rebel. Am I doing it? Am I participating in Nano this year? Honestly, I started doing Nano back in high school. I think my first official year doing it was my senior year of high school, so it was November of 2016. I was in a creative writing class where we did Nano and attempted it, and I don't remember if I won or not, but at that point I had been writing books for a very long time, so writing a book was not new to me. So that's when I started Nano, and I think ever since I have attempted to do something every November. 2017 I wrote a project. 2018 I wrote a project. 2019 I wrote a project. Actually, should we look them up? I think I do have them on my computer. Yeah, so NaNoWrimo 2016 was Andrew Barnes. It was kind of like this serial killer, kind of. Andrew Barnes is the main character's name. I don't think I ever made a title for it. Should we look? I don't think I did, though. No. So it was like this serial killer-esque. I don't remember why he was killing people, but he also fell in love. It kind of feels a little bit like you in a way. So that was 2016. 2017. Interesting. I don't quite know what this one is. I wrote 39,000 words in it. Cicadas. I don't understand. I don't know what this is. Okay, where do we have names? NaNoWrimo 2017, so it would have been the year after I graduated, or the fall after I graduated. I don't remember writing this at all. Oh my gosh, what is this? What is the love interest's name in this? It's a paranormal romance, obviously. That's all I wrote. And I'm pretty sure they get taken into hell. Yes, I'm pretty sure they get taken into hell by this, like, character. I think he's the love interest, but I think he's also, like, pretty evil, and it kind of gets revealed at the end, like, if I had written the end, which I don't think I did. Where is his name? So confused. What is going on? Well, hang on, I really need to know what the main character's name is. But you may call me Dane. All right. That was 2017, apparently. 2018. Yes. Yes. It is called Sleight of Hand. I do remember writing this one. It's about a girl. It's a paranormal romance, again. It's about a girl who goes to Italy, and she stays at this hotel that her uncle owns. And the hotel, like, has magical kind of creatures as, like, I don't know, like performers, but they're under, like, a contract, so they can't leave. She falls in love with one of the performers, and it was really fun to write. I actually had 3 drafts of it. My initial draft was, 97,000 words long. 97,000 words of a draft of a book that will never see the light of day. And then 2019 of NaNoWrimo was If the Brim Fits. So, I have done NaNoWrimo, is that 4 times then? And then 2020 was, actually I don't think I worked on a new project in 2020 or 2021. I think those were both actually no, 2021 I worked on Teaching Teachers Pets first draft. So, long story short, that took me a long time to get to where I want to talk about now. Am I doing NaNoWrimo this year? Technically, like in the 50K range, no. I think you're technically a rebel if you do not start a new novel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if I were to work on book 4, which it's not finished, I want to finish it. If I were to work on book 4, even though I can want to get to 50K in that manuscript, since I'm not starting it from scratch, it's technically still me being a rebel. I don't love the phrasing. I feel like it makes you feel a little weird for not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Something about it doesn't feel positive to me, and it's probably just my perception of it, but I don't know. I just don't love the rebel aspect of it. But something I've actually found with Nano is that sometimes, if I'm not careful, I just cram words just to get words in. So I'll write a scene that literally doesn't matter. When I go back and do editing a few months later, because Nanowrimo's over, I realize, man, this scene means nothing and it gets the plot off track, and it was just me filling words, and it kind of sets me back. And I remember thinking this last Nano with Teaching Teacher's Pet. I remember I would write something and I'm like, I'm just writing this to get my word count in, you know, and that's never a good thing. If I were to go into it not like so hyper focused on word count, it could be okay. It's just something I struggled with last time, and I feel like I might struggle with again if I focus too much on word counts. And I think it's different than setting a word count goal other times. Because there is a lot of pressure when you see other people sharing their word count goals. If you're not like fully focused on you, you know, you can get a little bit distracted by, oh my gosh, they have 10,000 words more than me, or oh my gosh, they're finished already. I'm not even close to being finished. You know what I mean? So I think setting word count goals in other months is probably like a good thing. But sometimes Nano can feel a lot like a race. Like you're trying to see who gets done first. And that's something that I just have been feeling over the course of, you know, getting more involved in the writing community and meeting more friends and stuff. Definitely something that I experienced last year, that kind of like feeling last year, because I don't think I did not win NaNoWriMo last year. I don't believe. I bought a winner t-shirt, but I did not win. And I remember I felt kind of low because so many other people won, and I'm like, I didn't win. And I think it has a lot of tendencies to not be great for me specifically. I'm going to set my own writing goals, but I'm not calling them NaNoWriMo goals. But I still want to share those with you since this is the last video of October. November starts tomorrow. So my 2 writing goals are to finish draft 3 of book 3 and then finish draft 1 of book 4. So I'm taking a little bit of time off of client work this month. I'm going to try my hardest to like more so focus on my books this month and kind of put client work a little bit on the back burner and just take less clients this month in order to get like quite a bit into these books and hopefully finish these books. I actually had a ton of clients this month, and how I plan on doing that, I am going to be setting myself a word count goal every day, and it does sound like a nano goal, but I'm making sure to be like super clear in my head that this is not nano, so that when people share their word counts and where they're at, I don't personally compare, because I do have a tendency to like think, oh my gosh, like I said earlier, they're at 5K and I'm only at like 2K. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind, you know. Once you get behind, it can feel like very scary and hard to catch up. So this is very clear that this is not a nano goal for me. My candle light is flickering and it's about to go out and it's driving me bonkers, you guys. Very clear this is not a nano goal, but I still am setting a word count goal because for me, I feel like that is probably the best way to gauge productivity for me. I've been having a hard time tracking my productivity because I don't feel like I'm doing a lot, because my writing sessions nowadays have transitioned into something different. I feel like back in 2019 and 2020, I would just spend 7 hours straight when I wasn't working. I would spend 7 hours straight, like sitting on my bed, writing my heart out. And I don't do that anymore. I haven't had that kind of writing session in a very, very, very long time. And I feel like my writing sessions come in bursts. Like I'll work on it a half hour here, a half hour there, an hour there, 10 minutes here, you know? So I feel like it's really hard to track my productivity. And in my head, I think, man, I've been so productive, and I haven't been. Or in my head, I'll be like, man, I wish I was more productive, and I did pretty good for that day. So I think doing a word count goal is going to be the easiest way to track my productivity. So since I have 2 projects that I'm basically like working on, I think, you know what, now that I'm saying it, I forgot book 3 is more editing right now. Maybe book 3 needs like a time goal, and then book 4 needs a word count goal. Like maybe so my idea before that was I was going to write 1,000 words for each project every day. Initially I was going to do 2,000, but for each project, that's insane to do every day. So, and since I'm doing 2 projects, it's still 2,000 words together for the entire day. But draft 3 is editing, so it would need to be probably a time goal. But I don't know how long it takes me to write 1,000 words. It differs, you know? But that's what I'm thinking. That's where my thoughts are. I just wanted to share that because NaNoWrimo season is upon us, and I've had a few questions if I am doing NaNoWrimo or not, and this year I'm not technically. I'm not doing any of this for Nano, so.